ahead and get started here. All right, so let's begin. Good morning, everyone. This is the Mentorship and Leadership Development Program. So let's begin. Let me go ahead and see what we have today. So, how you doing, Aldo?
I'm good, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Okay. And Nadine, how you doing?
I'm great, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and get this rolling. So, I'll share my screen. And today I don't have two screens like I normally do. Oh, you're done. Okay. KDK wants to say hi again. Here, KDK, you can stand here and be, here. You can sit down. You can sit down and be my ornament here. Okay. Yeah. Eka, it is time to wake up. This is my other daughter who's still in bed. Wait, where's Eka? There she is. Wait, this is a chair.
Wake up, Eka.
Yeah, Eka, wake up.
Wake up, Eka. Good morning, sunshine.
Morning, Eka. Wake up. Okay. Anyway, so all right, let's take a look into what we're doing today. Hey, you got okay. You wake up, Eka. Yeah, okay, he has a meeting. Okay. Go. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our meeting structure today. Oh my God, today, Nadine, you're chairing.
Oh, crap. Okay.
All right. So, Nadine, you feel ready? Hey, Vidi, good morning.
Hi, sir. Good morning, sir.
All right, Lilith, hey, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, I just wake up like 8:30.
Nice. Hey, everyone. I'm still in Ubud, so I decided to stay the night with Diana because I guess today was like I think it's 17. Hey, happy 17 Agustus. Merdeka.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Independence Day, everyone.
Happy Independence Day. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Nadine, you'll be sharing today. I guess I'll control the screen. Thank you, Vidi and Lois, for coming in, and let's get into it. So, yeah, Nadine, bring us to where we need to go.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's start the meeting today. I would go to Lilis first. Kak Lilis, any update from your side about your mentees and what are the frictions lately that you've been faced, maybe that you can please share to us?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Miss Chair. Actually, I haven't attached the latest card from Frida, which is, I guess, related to property acquisition. Um, just update first, and then it's actually using Google Canvassing, where they can where she can find email, and then sends the pitch for the property management, and then the friction. What is the friction? Um, I I don't really know. I don't really have any friction, but I just realized that at the first time, she feels scared. It's from the word itself. I don't realize that people see me as a scared person. But basically, I don't feel any friction regarding engagement with Frida. But yeah, maybe that's the first sign.
Okay.
But let me think if I have any other friction letter. Back to the chair.
Okay, thank you, Kak Lilis. I don't agree with Frida because the first time I met you, you look so cute and I don't feel scared. Okay, thank you so much for your update, Kak Lilis. Move to Aldo. How are you, Aldo? How was your mentees doing? And any update?
Okay, thank you, Nadine, Mr. Chair. So my update here is so I so so Hasbi will I asked Hasbi to focus on SEO for the long term page since the long term page will be renewed and and will and change the whole page. I ask Mas Rizal to have Hasbi collaborate with the creation of the landing page too, so it can be SEO optimized too for so Hasbi can understand also about how SEO can help with can help with how landing page can be helped with SEO. So that's my update from Hasbi. But I think my friction is, so I recently found out that Hasbi is clearing his week.
Sorry.
So I don't really understand. So Hasbi will have 1 week leave if I'm not if I'm from what my understanding.
Oh, okay, okay.
So the
Mm-hmm.
thing is that I don't have that information. So it's like
Uh,
maybe like a miscommunication. So Hasbi informed Ara, but he's not informing me, something like that.
okay, okay. Is that all, Aldo?
Yeah, it's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will discuss about that later, yeah, Aldo, about your friction. Thank you so much for your update. Let's move to my update actually about Caroline. So, I haven't updated in my card actually, but I know that so the update is this, that Caroline has finished the fundamental things, the problem about inquiry coming on WhatsApp air support. Actually, she has done the research about the basis problem of that, and then she already working on the she already pivoting that to make the to create one solution for that problem, and it's actually still the opportunity still open to for other solutions, but she is trying to developing the guidebook with it, with the other channel, which is the BV guest portals. And also she also has one other initiative, which is automated goodbye message on Airbnb. uh, it's already ongoing, it's already on process. She already proposed it to product development team to help her, and she worked quite independently on that, without really what is that without really need me to direct her. I'm more mostly I'm just supporting her. And yeah, that's actually what Caroline's doing lately. And my friction is actually I feel like time difference between me and Caroline is really uh you know influence impact what is that influence the engagement between me and Caroline. And also I feel like since he moved to Paris and the time difference is quite what is it significant, and it feels like lower motivation of Caroline's itself. So yeah, that's my friction actually, to keep the engagement when it's even the time difference is really what is that significant, like more than 6 hours difference. So yeah, that's pretty much from me. Yeah, that's all. Any question maybe? Okay, thank you everyone. um okay, next to Vidi. I think Kak Vidi, you have mentees already, congratulations. Okay, Kak Vidi, any update about your mentees?
Okay, hi everyone. So I'm mentoring Tara now, and so regarding the project itself, Joseph is mentored by Mo Wayan. Is it? But Tara and Joseph will collaborate on the same project, which is the project I proposed to Joseph. So technically, I will be managing both Joseph and Tara in their projects. So that's that. That's a good collaboration project, and it's been done before. I think it's been done prior to with the UGM interns. Multiple people working on the same project because constantly the project is quite complicated. Um, That's a technical one. And another technical one is that I believe Tara is now a dual has dual chaptership, one also belonging to the marketing chapter. Um, Regarding that, there haven't been any problem because there hasn't been any significant workload from the marketing chapter. However, it's to be expected that uh, Tara kind of mentioned that her budget allocation for marketing against business intelligence is 3 to 7. So that's that. So the only question I would like to raise is regarding interns contract, as well as I think Nadine has mentioned this before regarding the time difference.
Okay, yes. Is that all, Fidi?
Um, I think so far, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
think that we facing some the same friction, yeah, lately, Kak Fidi. I think this is a good discussion. I think we already have several discussion to be discussed. Um, it's it's actually also will be helpful for future interns that maybe would come from different country with many times differences. Okay, then let's move to the discussion management. Um, Maybe I would choose one topic first. The Okay, let's start with the time differences and engagement across the remote work schedule. Um, maybe maybe to Aldo first. Aldo, have you experiencing some friction that like Fidi and me been facing lately, like time differences between with you and Hasbi?
So me and Hasbi, I think we have no time difference because Singapore and Denpasar has the same time zone. But maybe
Oh
about the,
yeah.
engagement, I think we're facing the same friction like me and Hasbi that not communicating the schedule, and you also have this engagement friction with Caroline. So
Yeah.
um, I think it's more about the engagement. Is more about the communication and the closeness between the interns
And
between
the,
teacher and the mentor.
mm, I see. Okay, makes sense. Okay then. No, it's related to the. I think it's related also with the intern contract. Okay, over to you, Jing. Maybe. Do you have any thought for this one?
Okay, I can understand the low engagement situation. I would actually like to ask more about what the intern contract has to, how that correlates with low engagement. So, back over to the chair.
Okay, Vidi. Over to you, Kak Vidi. What is intern contract is related with
Okay.
the
Yeah.
engagement?
So it could be different topics as well as the same topic, but in the side note, do they have a contract or they have to sign? Like before, I believe the UGM interns have a contract to sign. That's one. And my mentee kind of told me that she hasn't signed anything yet. That's what. Yep. So maybe just like to formalize things up. But regarding the correlating it with the time difference, actually, I'm wondering whether their work hour is the work hour
Mm,
in Bukit Vista for both people inside Indonesia and outside Indonesia is absolute hour or relative hour.
Ooh.
right. Yes. Thank you so much, Vidi. Over to you, back, Jing.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll ask Ara what's been happening if there are contracts. If Tara's told you that there is no contract, I believe it probably has not been issued yet. But I think that is a good improvement, and I think HR can actually issue intern contracts so it's more clear. The second one about absolute or relative work hours, could you clarify that? Does that mean we're all synced at the same time, or meaning like we can all work at different times, but
Yep, yep. Regarding that one, yep.
okay. Uh, I guess the best answer I have for that is that we need to cross that river. So I do think that some things are actually enhanced by having different time zones. Like, let's say, for example, Caroline is actually enhanced by having different time zones. Like this idea of night shift. If Caroline's in a different time zone that's 5 time zones away, then it's really actually natural for her, I think, to be able to cover, let's say, a like we can probably delegate some operational work to her that covers during a certain time zone when we would be asleep. So that would be better if we had it, let's say, staggered, right? I think relative in this case. But for other
Mm.
things, if it's more project based, I'm not sure. I would need some more experience to see what would work. My intuition tells me that if it's more project based, you can probably use asynchronous communication. If you're just maybe about 12 hours apart, then yeah, there's probably not going to be too many things that you need. Um, I'm just guessing, right? That you need immediate sync up on. But like SEO, if Hasbi was working on an SEO project, he could be probably like many time zones away. And I don't see the quality of a project like that to suffer if there's a time zone difference. But for other things, let's say if you're doing things that requires constant like synchronization, I'm trying to think of a role that would require that. Then that could affect it. But for right now, I would say that it's probably best if somebody's new to synchronize as much as possible early on. So absolute in the first phase, and maybe more relative as they get a stronger, as they get like a more clear purpose, and they can they can be delegated with more freedom and responsibility. But the question is very contextual too. It depends on what role. So that's my that's my intuition. But let me pass it around the floor and see what other people think.
Okay, thank you, sir. Maybe to Kalilis, what do you think?
Mm, yep. For the operational, I agree with Jing, but for the what is that? For the project, it's basically influenced also by the mentee motivation. Like for example, like
Hmm.
Tara. Tara is very motivated and she wants to learn more. So she need the mentor at the same time that I mean of course, maybe VD has different time zone also. Like VD working like from 12 to in the morning. It perhaps can be matched with Tara, but I guess if you want to implement the same time for the intern that comes from different area or different time zone, it might be dangerous in the future if they don't have any motivation.
Hmm.
And it's like what's that? But if we implement like different their normal time, we can control it by communication through Trello perhaps, or something like perhaps only once or twice a week to meet in a meeting, like perhaps like that. But basically in the motivation itself, as Nadine said that, for example, like Caroline, it might lower the motivation because different time zone, maybe they haven't awake or something like that. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Kalilis. Yes, that's interesting actually. But I do agree with Kalilis. If the motivation is high, actually, no matter what, she will find a way to communicate. I think. Maybe back to you, Coffee D. So far you've been facing this. What
Okay.
what what is the solution that actually you already applied to to face this?
Yeah. So, yep. Thank you. That was interesting. Regarding, I think from the outside, it looks like Tara is managing with the working, like the sleep schedule and stuff like that. But from my experience, so this actually this kind of topic actually I thought about it since last Friday because I had sync up with uh, Tara in the morning and also sync up with Caroline in the afternoon. So I noticed that it's not sustainable. They will break. It's
Mm.
not efficient to think in the morning for some people, and I completely agree because this question have been raised before, sir. On April, I remember I checked the documentation and I was right because I thought like this seemed like a familiar question. Where have I seen it? We asked this question back on April when we had professional networking with Sean Winters and Christian. We asked about the time zone difference, and he kind of like emphasized this asynchronous communication. Even remember that Sean Winters actually told us that he rarely goes to meeting, and also watch videos of the meeting instead. That's why we had this urgency to move to Trello and Slack and so on and so forth. So the asynchronous communication part, it's really yeah, I agree that it could benefit us in the future if we have the a huge time zone difference. So yeah,
Okay.
so to summarize it, basically, um, if from Nadine's or Lily's perspective, Tara is doing well. From my perspective, it's not sustainable because I've seen the direct impact of like if you wake up in the morning and it just doesn't work. That's what I'm reading at least.
Uh, okay. 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 Interesting. Also confusing. Okay. Thank you, Coffee D. That's actually the experience from VD that we can actually have a look and think. Um, okay, then maybe back to you, sir. Any last thought for this topic?
Sorry, sir,
You're
muted, sir.
muted, sir.
Thank you. I think video is actually on the right pathway here. I think as we've actually seen. All right, the first thing I want to frame is this, right? Uh, the first thing I want to say is that this is actually pretty cool in a way because this is actually the point of having interns, so that we learn not just how to work, but how to work like globally. And we learn how to use better systems and tools. I think that a lot of times having everyone in the office and doing things in the traditional way can be sort of a crutch. It can be a way of okay, it feels like we're productive because we're in the same room. It feels like we're doing the right thing, but actually not any work is progressing the way it should. So what I'm seeing here is actually something pretty interesting, which is all right. If we're going to be a global company, we kind of need to think about how to how to measure, how to progress, and how to chunk out the work in a way that allows us to work on different bits and pieces across different time zones. So the other thing is that it can be done, as we just mentioned, as Vidi just mentioned, as we've done professional networking with other companies that are 100% remote. This is not. This is a I think a necessary phase that we need to go through. I guess my question is this then: what sort of new behaviors in leadership should we expect to find in ourselves for this to work? Like, do we need to think about how the work can be, let's say, chunked up across different time zones? Do we need to think about what is the correct attendance culture for meetings? Do we need to think about like how to create this new type of culture? So I think in this particular segment, we're exploring a few things. We're exploring motivation, time difference, but ultimately, I think what we're seeing is that we don't have a solid system yet for how to divide the work. And because of that, then there's confusion, as Nadine said. And then because of that, then there's probably motivation issues related to how the work is being chunked up. Okay, so let me go over to ask Vidi. How would you you've seen this happen before. You've read about this. What would be your best advice to, let's say, Nadine and to Tara for how to mentor them across different time zones while keeping high motivation despite low contact engagement.
Right. First, I would like to kind of like echo the idea of interns having to match the absolute time zone in the first like few weeks or maybe the first month, just to because maybe they're not used to the system of project management and these kind of tools. So that's I actually thought about it for a while and it's really good. Secondly, for the your question, sir, I'm not sure. For some reason, I feel like my engagement with Tara is pretty okay because perhaps we share a lot of like common hobbies and I'm not sure it's about like what Tara mentioned. Wait, did Tara mention it during the did Tara mention it to me directly or to the Vista project award? But she mentioned that uh, I don't know these are her words, but she mentioned that I balanced like being professional as well as being uh, playful or not playful, being
Friendly.
chill and professional at the same time. So that's maybe one good thing. Um, yeah, and regarding the how to act with it, actually one point that I would like to highlight regarding the delegation and instructions, perhaps there could be improvement on the clarity of the instructions, such that there it's synchronous communication will be reduced.
Mm.
So clarity on the instructions given.
Already on the instructions given.
Yeah, the clarity.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, Vidi, would you imagine, like, let's say, in the best form of this working, it would probably work like something like a pen pal relationship. So they would let's say finish their job, they would report what they'd done, and then Nadine as the mentor would then comment back on let's say uh, their written valuation of what they had done.
Yes, it's basically the same concept as our case management journey.
Yeah.
So basically, we have asynchronous communication, but perhaps if we want to do it like quicker, we should accelerate that kind of culture of written documentation. We've echoed this a lot of times, like asynchronous communication, written documentation, but maybe the enforcement of that kind of culture should be prioritized and accelerated.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. Prioritizing asynchronous communication. Okay. I'll go back to the chair then.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Fidi, for the advice. Yes, actually, the culture of like clarity instruction and the delegation, like in the we have in case management journey is also would be great idea for making it like a culture to for communication. Um, Even interchapter or maybe between mentors and mentees in the time difference. And yes, Confidi.
Sorry,
You
may
need
I
to-
share just a little bit of example. Maybe this could give a
Mhm.
clearer picture. For example, if HR asked to RM to give evaluation of a price, and there is this phase of giving partial information as opposed to directly giving the inquiry ID, such that there should be like back and forth communication, like asking for like iterations of question before clarity.
Okay.
But if you give directly the inquiry ID, for example, or the information directly, it will be like
Hmm.
just a reply that could answer the question from the HAR as opposed to like back and forth questioning, something like that.
Oh, okay. So this is basically about the clarity and the clear.
Oh yeah. This is just an example. There are
Mhm.
multiple examples, but this may be a good one.
Okay.
Mrs. Chair,
No, but
may I say something?
yes, sir.
This kind of
Sure.
reminds me, actually, this is a sort of a leadership format. Imagine you are like, imagine you're like a space explorer, right? And it takes like let's say a few weeks for your message to reach Earth. So what I think you should do, let's say for example, you're asking Earth, what should I do? Earth will probably ask you, what's your condition right now? and then you'll say your condition is this and this and this. What should I do? And then Earth will say, okay, based on that, you should probably do this. So that's 4 back and forths to do one thing. What if instead of doing that, you said, all right, Earth, this is my condition, and these are my constraints at the moment. And currently, I need a solution for this, and this is what it looks like. So you sort of pre-package all the things that you anticipate that the other person would need or ask in order to, let's say, come to a decision point, and you bundle that together in one thing. So then you send that over in one transmission, and then Earth says, based on what you've told us, it looks like your plan C works the best way. So, like you've almost have thoroughly digested it before, and I think that expectation of communication can actually make things um, better and faster for both sides. So instead of the intern coming to say, "Oh, what should I do today?" This report as in like, "I've done this already. I think this is what I need to do, and this is what I'm confused about, and this is like." And even best, they just give you a checklist. I can do this, this, or this, or this, and then you just say, "Okay, do item C on that checklist." So let's go over. Just double check. Does that sound like a good idea, Nadine?
Yes, we can try it. It's sounds like a good idea actually. So.
Okay. All right. Bundled information. All right.
I think this is also can be applied to the mentee as a mentor, even they don't have like time differences as well, sir.
Got it.
Not only for like me and Phoebe,
Mhm.
but I think Aldo and Calindis is also can apply this.
Okay. Yeah. We can probably even come up with a template for this type of communication if you want. Like, what's the context? What's the what are your thoughts and what is your friction? Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Yes, that's great actually. Kofidi, what do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to point out. The If we have complete information, then the back and forth communication will not happen. Something like that. But yeah, this is the original intent of using Trello, right? So that we don't have to do like back and forth communication as much.
Correct. Correct. Vinny is correct on that one. Yeah. Back to the chair. Mr. Chair.
I guess Nadine is freezing or something like.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So I'll jump in then real quick to carry on the conversation. All right. So I think we have a conclusion here. So the okay. Vidi, what I'll see is I'll see what the R is currently doing for the internship contracts. I don't know if they have contracts or not. I think we might have not created contracts, but I think that would be better. If you do have contracts, then that gives you a baseline for knowing what's expected of the interns, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get that over so that Vidi doesn't have any friction on that. Vidi, just to help me out, could you put that on the HR discussion so that we remember to speak?
Noted, sir.
Okay, HR dis. And then over to Lilith. Lilith, do you have any interns right now that are out of time zone?
No, sir. Basically, my intern is Frida, but I'm helping Joseph basically.
Okay, got it. So this should be it. But I think once again, as we pointed out, this is a pretty good process. Just to ideally, this is good delegation too as well. We don't have to like bounce back and forward and consume as much of your time as well and attention. Let's go next to this one on intern motivation. I thought was pretty interesting. Motivation is always I would say, okay, like Lilith just mentioned before, is it a factor of the personal or is it a factor of the system? If the system isn't right, then it's hard to feel motivated because it's just so much friction to getting things done. But if the person isn't motivated, then no matter what sort of system we have, then we might experience issues with it. So maybe this is a good topic to discuss at the moment. Let's go over to Aldo. Aldo, do you feel like you're facing issues with Hasbi's motivation?
About his motivation, I think he is quite interested about the SEO,
Okay.
and also to keep his motivation up. I am asking him to understand something more than SEO. So it's different topic. So he is quite interested about ads. So I'm asking him to discover about Facebook ads. So it keeps his motivation steady and increase. I think that's how I keep the motivation of Hasbi.
Okay, all right. That's actually an interesting topic because if we're doing that, then the flip side I would ask is is any of this stuff that he's working on uh, focused, right? Is it prioritized? Or are we prioritizing? How are we prioritizing intern direction by their own motivation or by what we need them to do? Let's actually go into that topic. That might be an interesting subject. Really, do you have any thoughts on that? Like, should an intern's motivation be focused on what they're interested in or what we need them to do?
Yep. Coincidentally, sorry. Me, right, sir?
Yes, yes, we do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah. Coincidentally, what my mentor interested about is coincidentally the same as what I need her to do right
Ah,
now regarding machine learning.
okay.
So there's a match on that. So I don't have a lot of friction for that, but I believe that the delivery of the knowledge is also how you deliver the knowledge is also important, like lectures, right? Sometimes maybe it's important for you, maybe you're interested, but if it's not delivered correctly, then people will get bored and so on and so forth.
Ah, okay. Delivery method. Tell me more about that.
So maybe sometimes in lectures you just give like this kind of materials, facts without the actual implementation or uh, showing directly.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I usually it flows for me quite naturally regarding the delivery of messages or like lecturing,
Oh.
but I'm still not sure how to condense that into a sentence.
Okay. Could the delivery method be like where you have to engage Socratically with somebody so that it connects basically what you understand about their fundamental motivation? Should it be a sort of a core idea that they believe in, like I want to make the world better, and then you sort of break down what we need in order to connect with that fundamental motivation.
I'm not sure about that, but one thing I'm sure of is actually if you deliver in my case a lot of it are hard skill that requires specific knowledge, right?
Yeah.
If it's too far off, then they kind of get overwhelmed.
Ah, okay.
If it's beyond their ZPD.
All right. So it sounds like to me then, Vidi, in order to get that match, you kind of need to find the right intern, right? That's the
Yep.
all right, matching the motivation. Okay. So that's actually pretty concurrent with what Rahul said about university relations, that it all starts with what is the ideal job description for the candidate, and then you seek your way back up to the sources to find that candidate. Okay, interesting. All right. So Nadine, this is going back to Nadine. Is Nadine?
Yes.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yes.
Welcome back. I'll pass the chair back over.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir, for covering me. My connection just bad here.
Mhm.
Okay. Yes, I think this is a good discussion about the motivation itself, and also about the time differences and engagement. It's also a good topic to be discussed today because we're aiming to be globally, and this is might the big problem that we would face in the future. And lucky us, we face it now, so we can prepare and to be ready for the future, right? And I think we can just apply the new method, like the clarity of the delegation and also the instruction. For now, we can make it as a habit and culture first, and let's see if it works with this friction like time differences and everything. We will get back in Wednesday maybe to do the update for this one.
Okay.
I think. Sure. Okay then, sir. Yes, Kak Lilis.
Okay, thank you, Mister. So does that mean that the the t- uh, the period of working, I mean the time of working is now shifting?
Ah,
So it's for Caroline and Tara. I mean, they don't have to attend meeting. Is that correct? I just like want to be
No, no,
clarified.
Kak Lilis. For now, they need to still attend the meeting, I guess. And but the for the project itself, like the discussion, the meeting, and the instruction for what to do next, it's we can apply the method like what is that, Kak Fidi? The method that we've been discussed before. Kalilis in the Trello, Trello as the communication tools
Mhm.
like that.
Okay. So they still need to join the meeting, but
I guess so for now, until
asking
we.
something from Trello.
Sorry, Kalilis. No, no. I think for now they still need to attend the meeting, like the mandatory meeting, like RM Singkat if for Frida and HAR Scrum for Caroline's. For now, still need to attend until we have uh, more solution for that.
Mm.
if I may, um,
Yes, sir.
this is actually a pretty interesting goal. Maybe we've seen sync ups evolve over time, and this type of sync up is actually kind of a new frontier because we started doing leadership sync ups because we realized that during the actual Scrum sync ups, we weren't actually removing frictions. We still had a lot of frictions, and that's why we're here discussing them. Could it be that we can evolve to a way where we don't need to have a Scrum sync up anymore? What I'm suggesting is because let's say we were able to deliver our information perfectly in the Trello. So you don't necessarily need to, let's say, have a synchronous sync up. It could almost be that the only thing that needs to be done is that all the Trello cards need to be reported by a certain time every week. And then all the feedback will then be given at a certain time every week. Does that make sense? Like,
Mm,
say, all right, by 12, by let's say 1, let's say the normal sync up time, right? By 10 a.m. HAR time, right? 10 a.m. Bali time. All the Trello cards for the week will be, the written updates will be already on the card. And then I think the chair then just writes all the comments on all the cards by 11 a.m., right? So they spend basically, the chair then just kind of takes the time to review all the cards. So some cards can be filled in earlier, some cards will be filled in closer to 10, doesn't matter. But let's just say that's the SLA. By 10 a.m., all the cards are filled in.
mm,
So then what people are expecting is feedback, right? Like, what's the feedback about how my progress has been? Am I on track? I have frictions that I need to discuss, whatever. And so then maybe then at the same point, discussions and such, they can also be carried asynchronously. Let's say, for example, we have a synchronous sync up for the discussion, but somebody who's left a discussion topic can put it on the discussion paper and then we just fill it in. As far as discussion topics go, they need to be written clearly with contextual information so that, let's say, it just reduces the need for a back and forth. I think that will be good too, because that will create more clarity of thought before you discuss something. You've already thought it over, you've already refined out like why you need to discuss it. And perhaps if it could be found on like Google or whatnot, you've already tried that too as well. So essentially everything is just kind of packaged and that's also more efficient use of group time as well. Um, does that sound like an interesting idea? I'm just floating that idea up to the uh, as a leadership discussion topic.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you, sir. I think this is that's good idea related with the ideas that Vidi just brought out about the clear communication. So I think by doing that, so meeting it will be just additional, right? If the chairperson and for example me need more clarity for the update, yeah, they just set the meeting like they need to coordinate for the time and everything. That's also a good idea. But I think the things that need to discuss is when this is will be start, and also I think you need to discuss it to HR first, sir. Uh, like we know that every new culture need to be filtered by HR first, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
My
I
question
think
my question is, would that actually work? I don't want to create a system or a plan that would be, let's say, I need your feedback
um,
now, so that we reduce the back and forth, right? So this is another one. So what if we did this? What if we say, instead of having synchronous meetings, we could say the meeting's optional. But what is not synchronous, what is not optional, is that there should be a clear update on each card. Even if there's no update, there should be a activity of saying that I have nothing to report. This is this, and then essentially, perhaps the chair and the chair of the meeting and the chapter lead would have been the responsible to give updates on the card for everybody, or just feedback for everybody, and
mm,
uh, and that way this whole thing can be done, I think, asynchronously. We don't need to all be here at the same time. Our message stands in for what we do. So everybody's card updated by a certain time. The chair and CL will feedback by a certain time, and then discussion topics can be essentially package written and then reviewed by a certain time.
okay. Maybe go to Vidi. Or will that work, Vidi? I think you are actually the one that already get used to this kind of culture, written communication, clear. Yes.
Okay. So regarding that one, actually, there will be some complications of having no scrums at all. First, the interaction. I believe that is also one of the concern of HR, the interaction between employees.
Uh,
But usually, in tech companies, actually, we have sprints or scrums once every like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's called a one sprint. There's a short sprint, like moderate length sprint, and also a long sprint. Sometimes we can meet like once in a month or 2 months. I think Shafri mentioned this before, because what's the point of having a meeting where you don't have updates at all? I understand that the importance of over communicating during the first few months after the pandemic, during the PV4, is important. But yeah, we could certainly adopt that behavior of eventually having less and less sync up, and lean more towards asynchronous communication. Maybe the thing is, it gives rise, if we will have that kind of culture. Another question rise up: what's the motivation behind a rotating scrum master? Because when we have a rotating scrum master, the feedback process that should the feedback process in the each Trello card will not be
ah,
equal.
that's true. Okay.
Yeah, because usually we have a single scrum master, which is the chapter lead, and that leads into a more managemental um, role, in a sense, because the chapter lead will have more visibility towards each of the cards, as opposed to, yeah, it relates to division of labor and so on and so forth. Because if everyone has, it's good to have to some extent of visibility, but um, we can't really expect to have a detailed visibility for everyone, to have a detailed visibility of every uh, initiatives, something like that.
Really good point. Really good point. Okay, back to Nadine. Can I chime in on this one?
Yes, sure, sure, sir. I'm also still need to think
I
about Vidi style.
I tend to agree. I tend to agree. I think we're past the point where we needed, let's say, for example, as frequent sync ups as we normally have. We do that generally to make sure that people, let's say if you're new here and your engagement cycle is very low, then what we notice that is that people tend to sort of disappear off, right? So we don't know if let's say Haspi, right? Haspi, if we only had, let's say, one check-in every 2 weeks with him, then there's a pretty far risk of Haspi working on the wrong thing for 2 weeks, and then when he comes back, then we tell him, okay, sorry, but the past 2 weeks you've been working on something that doesn't actually make too much sense. But I think the utilization of a Scrum to get that context is not the best way to do it. I think we can evolve away from that into more asynchronous communication. So I agree. We should be able to, let's say, reduce the number of meeting cycles, but not lose that, let's say, engagement or that connection process. The second thing about rotating Scrum was based on uh, this identification of leadership, and also rotating leadership created, I think, this more understanding of what the dilemma of leadership was. So let's say, for example, like happy hour, right? Happy hour is rotating so that everybody has a chance to host it, so everybody has a chance then to want to come. What we noticed before is that if there's one person doing it, um, it always becomes like that person's trying to pull everybody together to, like, hey, let's have a meeting, and then people have never experienced that dilemma themselves, and then it's hard to get that across. But what's happened is actually this. I think our culture has actually improved past the original point where we had those problems. So I think this would actually be an interesting time to uh, let's go with that idea. Is it possible to reduce the number of Scrum meetings, and is it possible then to lock in a certain chair? What we did before by rotating chairs was create more critical thinking, more ability to analyze, and this idea of being able to see it the way, like, at least a leader would see it. But I think we're past that point now. I think we're not so elementary. We could be going into an idea where yes, we don't need to have a rotating chairperson. The chapter lead is always the chairperson, and then we have less frequent meetups. But we also have, because we have transparent feedback, we have radical candor, then we have the ability to actually detect judgment flaws, even if the chapter lead doesn't see it. Okay, yeah, that would be cool. Back over to the chair.
Okay, sir. But about the reduce the meeting time itself, I think it's also depends on the chapter, yes, sir. Right? Like how many days will be reduced?
I think most of the time, Nadine, if we can say that the SLAs are monitoring everyone's progress on, let's say, for example, I think the number of meeting times could be reduced if we have progression. If we have the correct progression, let's say from having to meet and look at people's work, from how to where we see if somebody's work is fulfilling an SLA, to then commenting on, let's say, that person's work via the Trello card. Your work is not meeting the SLA. Do you want to have a specific meeting just to figure out why that's not happening, instead of bring, let's say, the entire chapter together to talk about that? We have these chapter meetings for the most part for essentially monitoring work, making sure that the work is progressing, and then also to kind of create a culture of what is the correct behavior to have. But I think we have it now. I think that part is much more strong than when we started BB4. So it could be time to think of how to create more efficiency with less time spent in meetings, which I ultimately agree is a better thing than doing what we're doing. So if we can delegate more, then we can expect better results without having to spend so much time.
Okay, sir. Okay. Maybe to Kak Vidi, do you think we need to start like preparing for the transition of this culture right now, Kak Vidi, and how to preparing all the chapter to meet the transition of this culture?
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to ask. What's the realization of this idea? What's the workflow? Um, Actually, it relates back to the idea of an MVP, making a chapter an MVP, right? But I noticed, like if it passed through HR, then we can make an MVP through a certain chapter, an isolated one, that you kind of think maybe in the middle, somewhere in the middle with high, either high or low engagement towards this kind of culture, so that it could be generalized in the sense. But another question. This is another question, like the case with the experimentation with the DM Scrum board. What's the continuation? Because if we apply this like short, small MVPs without any clear goal, eventually we will divert. Each,
Ah,
each chapter will have their own culture. So I just need to remind that part.
very good. So let's go over to Aldo.
Yes. Yes, Aldo.
So about the DM Scrum board, so it's about the one that the stack is the initiative list, right? So I think there's no discussion about changing it to the basic Scrum board that every chapter have, but yeah, I think it becomes somehow like a problem and friction because whenever there is some people new to our Scrum to our board, we have to like teach them again of how do we work and how things will do it when we're doing Scrum. I think the culture making the culture same is one of a good point too.
Okay. Okay. Let me add to what Aldo just said. Actually, thank you for the reminder, Vidi. Originally, when we did the DM Scrum board, and it was different. It was set up as an MVP, so it was meant to see if this would actually work better and produce more clarity. But if I've noticed my facts correctly, the the format of it has not necessarily created more clarity. Um, it's more like clear thinking. It's sort of like if you have clear thinking, then even if you, I don't know, like how would I describe it? Like maybe if you color code or don't color code a file cabinet, if you have clear thinking, there's many ways to do it. So I think that was done in order to create, let's say, a more clear understanding of how initiatives work. But even till now, even with the new format, to be honest, I don't really see the clarity still being 100% there in terms of using the new format. So we have a new format. It feels like it's more clear, but the output of the work is actually not more clear. So basically, I would say, yeah. Long story short, that if that's the case, then I think we need to converge and merge back, fail fast, converge, and merge back to the main sort of cycle again, right? So that there's like inner chapter clarity, and there isn't like, oh, we've gone to this chapter and things are completely different, and I can't synchronize now because I can't understand what's going on in this particular realm. Um, so I think we need to have one language that is understandable across all of the company. And yes, if there is a particular MVP, like Vidi said, that brings us to a different direction and it's better, then that should be where we bring everybody to, right? If it works better that way. Okay. I think we can discuss about that particular topic in the marketing scrum. Yeah, Aldo for that. But okay, what Vidi said is actually pretty interesting. Can we actually try a particular chapter to see if we can reduce the number of meetings and have longer cycles, rely more on asynchronous communication? The reason why this might feel a little bit confusing for everybody, I believe we're in another chicken and the egg situation, right? So if we have good asynchronous communication and we have the written culture, then we will have the ability to meet up less frequently and space the meetings out further. But one thing has to happen before the other. Okay, back to the chair.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm actually, what I would suggest is don't be rushed in this kind of to new culture. I think we need to rethink again and find the best way. And and the most important is find the MVP first. Don't be too rush. This is need to be fixed and a good system in the future, right? So yeah, we can go back and discuss this more after this, all as well as on Wednesday, I think. But this is a great discussion, I think. Thank you so much for everyone, and also we have out of time here. Maybe just for the feedback today for of my sharing, you can text me on Slack, yeah, because we're running out of time. It need HR to be started. Okay, thank you so much everyone for attending this meeting. Have a nice one today.
Thank you, Nadine. Have a good day.
Bye.